Hi everyone, it's Joanne. Thanks for joining me today. Day 35 of our senior yoga practice. We will have another seated and floor practice today. I'll see you on your mat. So take a few minutes finding that comfortable seated position. Feel free to sit on a blanket or a pillow. Feel free to extend your legs or cross them. Around a little bit. Take a few gentle neck and head rolls as you want. Relieving any tension you have in your neck and shoulders today. And breathe. Shoulder rotations, forward and back. Remember, you can do this with your elbows. Your fingertips resting on your shoulders if you want, letting your elbows move. Creating a little bit more space in your body today. Let's go ahead and take those in the opposite direction. Breathe. Making sure you're not working with any pain today. One more time and relax your hands. You're just going to float into what I call a rainbow pose. You're just going to draw that rainbow over your head. And breathe. Floating from one side to the other. Holding as long as you wish on each side. No need to hurry. We'll come back to a seated position. Next, we're going to come into our seated robin pose. So if your knees have been bent and your feet on the floor, just go ahead and extend your legs because your knees might get in the way for this pose. We do this standing sometimes, but today we're going to do it from our seated position. So we're going to take a little while just to find the neutral spine. Remember, you do have that natural curve in your lower back, so your tailbone is rooted down. Your navel is reaching in towards your spine and lifting towards your ribcage. Just really feel the opening through your heart center. Shoulders are down and back. Let your hands come to your heart. Lengthen through the back of your neck and feel the crown of your head reaching high. Now empty your breath. Take a deep inhale. You're going to feel that expansion through your heart center. Exhale as both arms extend forward. Now inhale, your palms face the ceiling and you open your heart, squeezing your shoulder blades toward each other. And then exhale, round your spine, separate your shoulder blades, tuck your chin. Maybe your hands can touch in front of you. On your next inhale, you're going to come back to your starting place. And then exhale, arms forward. Inhale, open. Exhale, round your spine. Separate your shoulder blades. Inhale, hands to heart, shoulders stack over hips. We're going to do 4 more rounds. Exhale, arms forward. Inhale, open. Exhale, round your spine. Inhale, hands to heart. Exhale, arms forward. Inhale, open. Exhale, round your spine, arms extend in front of you, tuck your chin. Inhale, hands to heart, shoulders over hips. Exhale, arms forward. Inhale, open. And round your spine as you exhale. Inhale, hands to heart. Once more. Exhale, forward. Inhale, open. Around your spine as you exhale. Inhale, hands to heart. And then exhale. We're going to come into a seated child's pose. And breathe. Gently lift your head. You're going to come into table pose next. So table pose can be with extended arms, you can be on your fists, you can be on your elbows. You want your hips over your knees. Sometimes we get our hips too far forward and we're like this. So I want you to, maybe you need to practice in front of a mirror sometime. That's one thing that's good about mirrors, that you can really see. Okay. From table, we're going to push back into a child's pose. So just come back as far as you can. Then you're going to let your elbows come to the earth. And your forehead come down. Picture there's a tennis ball underneath your nose, and you're going to roll that tennis ball forward just as far as you can. Now, once you get here, you can keep your elbows on the floor if you want, or you can lift up and come into a cow pose. Remember, this is the arcing of the back here and opening up your heart. Now here, for anybody that wants, you can come into a downward facing dog. If you don't want to do a downward facing dog, just take a moment to stretch your legs out. So we'll take maybe 3 rounds of breath in this downward dog as the leg stretches. And then it'll be back down into cow pose, and then shifting back to child's pose. Find your breath. Roll that tennis ball forward. Continue to breathe. Either keep your elbows down or extend all the way, and you can come just let that float up into a cow pose. Tuck your toes and press into a downward dog if you want. Or again, you can be on your knees, stretching out one leg at a time. Try to hold this for about 3 rounds of breath, or take your leg stretches for about 3 or 4 rounds of breath. And then back down. Try to hit that cow pose again. And then back into child's pose. We'll do 1 more round. Roll that tennis ball forward. Stay on your elbows or extend your arms and try to get that cow pose. And then downward dog. We're into table pose or just stretching out your legs, whatever's good. Remember, 3 or 4 rounds of breath here. And back down, try to hit that cow pose again, and back into child's pose. Maybe here you just want to rest with your forehead, resting on your hands. If you'd rather rest on your belly, go ahead. I have a random hair on my arm there, it's bleeding. Slowly come up. Next, what we're going to do is a gate pose. This gate pose is a mid-level pose, so I'm going to have you come to your knees. You're going to stack your shoulders over your hips and your hips over your knees. From here, you're going to extend your right leg out to the side. Now it's easy to lift this hip, so you want to reposition your hip. So only bring that leg out as far as you can. You can either point your toe out or have it forward. But you still want to have shoulders over hips, and then here you have this nice long line. Let your right hand rest on your right leg and bring your left arm up. Or you can bend that elbow. And breathe. And breathe. Now you're going to let your left hand come to the floor and let your right hand come up. Now here, it's easy for your hips to want to be pushing back, so I want you to push your hips forward and breathe. Look up, down, or forward. Notice if your shoulders up by your ears. Pull your shoulders away from your ears and breathe. Hips are pressing forward. Good. Then you can rest. Maybe you just want to come into a child's pose here. And slowly bring yourself back up again, finding that mid-level pose. Center strong. Shoulders over hips, hips over knees. Left leg comes out. And again, take just a moment. It's easy to lift that hip. Maybe it's easy to push to this side, but you're trying to position. So on your right side, you've stayed long, shoulder, hip, knee. And on your left side, your hips are still pointed forward. Your left foot can be pointed forward or out. Just find what's most comfortable. Let your left hand rest on your left leg and bring your right arm up. This is a great side bend. Remember, your elbow can bend if you want. And breathe. Think of your hips pushing forward towards the top of your mat or the left side of your mat. And breathe. And then you're going to let that right hand come to the floor. Push your hips forward. And your left arm comes up. Looking up, downward, forward, and breathe. Breathe. Gently release. And let's come into child's pose and rest. Slowly come up. I'm going to come into butterfly pose. Up the hips some. Bring the bottoms of your feet together. They can be really far from you or close, doesn't matter. You can add a little bit of a flutter if you want. Open your heart and slide your shoulders away from your ears. Now a couple, two spinal movements we can do for this position. So right here, just notice the length of your spine. You have the crown of your head over your tailbone. You have your shoulders over your hips. What we're going to do first is a fold. Now a fold is where we want to take our hip crease to bring us forward. Now your knees are already bent, so it's maybe hard to feel it as a hip crease from this position, but what I want you to feel is that you have a long rod in your spine that can't bend, and you just have to come forward. One piece. You're going to lead from your heart and just come forward as far as you can here. So maybe looking 2 feet in front of you. Now your elbows can bend. They can come to your inner thighs or your calves, and maybe you can push your knees down a little bit closer. Now you're going to let your spine bend by tucking your chin and separating your shoulder blades. Feel your navel reaching in towards your spine. So you're rounding your shoulders, creating that space in your upper back, tucking your chin. Just notice how your spine is rounding now. and breathe. And then slowly come up. Extend your legs. Shake them out. And come into a gentle movement. Now we're going to come into a bridge pose. So we're on our back now. You can have a pillow or a blanket under your head if you want. As you come down, take your time. Find your neutral spine. So that means the lower back is lifted off the floor just a bit. Your hip bones are even. Your knees are separated. Your feet are flat on the floor. Your arms are by your sides. We're going to lengthen the neck first. So without lifting your shoulders, see if you can lift your head, tuck your chin, look at your knees, and place your head back on the floor again. So that you want to be looking more towards your knees than up or behind you. And this is where you want to have a blanket underneath your head. It's fine. Now here we're going to lift into a bridge pose. So one thing I like to do is to see that my feet aren't too far away from me, is see if I can tickle my heels with my fingertips. And then lift into bridge pose. So my shoulders stay on the floor, my neck stays comfortable, my arms stay comfortable. Draw your navel toward your spine, keep your hips even, and then press your knees forward and your feet flat on the floor. And breathe. And breathe. Now slowly roll down, take your time, no need to hurry. See if you can feel each vertebra one at a time. I do want you to roll through your lower back. Let your tailbone touch, and then find your neutral spine. So your lower back lifts off the floor again, and then we'll lift into bridge pose again. So really strong lift through the hips. This time I want you to feel like you have a ball, it doesn't matter what size, in between your knees, and pinch that ball toward together. Navel towards spine, no weight on your neck and shoulders. You're not pushing your weight forward. You're lifting from your center. You're not pushing your weight towards your shoulders is what I mean. Feet flat on the floor, and toes pointed forward. Pinch that ball and breathe. And breathe. Now slowly roll down. I want you to take your time. Feel those vertebrae in between your shoulder blades first. Slowly roll down. Don't skip your lower back. I want you to visualize each vertebra one at a time touches, then your lower back, then your tailbone, and then you come back into neutral spine and give your knees a great big hug. Oh, you can lift your head if you want, or you can just rock your knees a little bit. Now we're going to find a spinal twist. It's going to be a double knee twist. I'm going to back in the same position as we used for bridge. But this time you can open your arms up some. So we're going to lift into just a baby bridge. So just lift up a few inches, and you're going to swing your hips over to the right, set your left hip on the floor, and bring your knees over to the left side of your body. You're going to try to keep that right shoulder as close to the floor as possible. You'll notice there's going to be a shift of your knees some. If you want, you can take your left hand and place it on top of your right knee. And breathe. And breathe. And slowly roll to your back. Bring your hips back to center and rest here for a moment. Then hug your knees in towards your chest, lifting your head if you want. And release your feet to the floor. Your arms open as far as you want. And lift into that baby bridge pose. Swing your hips to the left this time. Let your right hip come to the floor, and then both knees come to the right side of your body. And try to keep that left shoulder as close to the floor as possible. You can turn your head if you want, and your right hand can come to your left knee if you want. And breathe. And breathe. And gently release. Feet on the floor, bring your hips back to center. And give your knees a great big hug. This time, lift your head, tuck your chin, bring your forehead towards your knees. Bring your feet to the floor. You can open into butterfly if you want. Let's go ahead and give yourself a nice big hug. And then you're going to switch your arms the other direction. Nice big hug. And then preparing for Shavasana, extend your legs if you want. Release your arms to your sides. You can rest your hands on your chest or belly if you want. Allow your eyes to close and bring your awareness to your breath. And allow your awareness to rest on the rhythm of your breath as your body rests, as your mind rests. Slowly bring your awareness back to your breath. Bring some gentle movements into your body as you feel ready. Give yourself a hug or a twist or a stretch if you want. Take a moment here if you wish to thank yourself for the time given yourself today. And as you're ready, gently roll to one side and allow yourself to rest on your side with your breath. Slowly bring yourself to a comfortable seated position as you're ready. Allow your eyes to close. Sit here for a moment with your breath. Allow your heart to open. We'll close today with one Om. Please feel free to join in if you wish. Let's begin with a cleansing breath. A complete inhale. deep exhale. Deep inhale. And allow your hands to come to your heart if you wish, and your eyes to open if you wish. And on the count of 3, we'll say namaste to one another. 1, 2, 3. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your time today. I hope to see you here again soon.